10 years. What have you been up to?
I do some web design.
Nice arm. It's just the wrist, just on the wrist, buddy.
Hello, welcome to What the Flick, gang. I don't know where that came from.
Howdy, gang.
Howdy, gang.
We're all here.
Yeah, we're all here.
It's
The gang's all
it's
here.
like the second Avengers movie.
Matt Atchity, Christy, Lemire, Alonso, Duralde, Ben Mankiewicz, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes, or as I like to think of it, the increasingly mediocre Spider-Man series. We see Andrew Garfield return as Spider-Man. Emma Stone returns as Gwen Stacy. Spider-Man's been fighting crime for a few years now. They've all graduated high school, or they do during the film. And of course, we get new villains, and more crime happens, and it's kind of a long story. Let's watch the clip.
I'm Spider-Man.
You mentioned that they graduated high school. Like, that bothered me right at the top. Like, I didn't read comics. I know, Christy, you didn't either, so I don't care. And, like, as we're doing these Game of Thrones reviews, like, it doesn't matter to the people. Like, first of all, it's a different medium. You can do whatever you want, right? So those people did not just graduate high school.
Because we're like 26 years old.
Like if you want to make
Maybe
them,
they were held back.
So just I know 210.
Maybe they were
We're all 30.
Maybe they were dummies.
just make it college and make them more credible as, make their love more credible. And, again, it just, I don't like it. It took, right off the bat, I was like, because I assumed it was college, right? At the beginning. And then she's like, and she mentions, these 4 years at high school. I'm like, she was 14 4 years ago? Like, I don't know. I think initially, right off the bat, I think it's a flaw.
What bugged me about the fact that it opens with their graduation is that within weeks, they're wearing fashionable coats and scarves. And I'm thinking, it's summer in New York. Where are these coats coming from?
Also,
I think the least of the problems with this movie.
I know, but it struck me.
But then, like, if they had graduated from high school, the talk instantly would have been of college, not of her special chance that she has to go to Oxford or whatever. Like, they would have applied to college. They would have known what they were going to do.
They would have known where they were going.
Right. They would have. That's what I mean. They would have known.
But there's references to it. Aunt May talks about, I have to work 2 jobs to try and put you through college. We're really getting into the minutia here.
Right.
There's big problems with this movie.
Let's talk about the real problems with this movie.
This movie is, I think, there's a very lovely cupcake that has had frosting and sprinkles and an umbrella and sparklers and all this other bullshit on it. And there is a cupcake in there, though it's nice. All the stuff between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, I think, is lovely.
Yes.
Some of the action sequences are kind of compelling. There are individual moments that resonate. Sally Field is great.
Yes.
And even on just sort of a big summer blockbuster level, there are some wow moments that pop. And then there's all this other stuff. And there's too many villains, there's too many endings, there's too many subplots.
Right.
And it's just staggering. And so much of it just feels like we have a series to push here. We have to drag in. It's like one of those series pilots where they drag in way too many characters.
Yeah.
It's like all these, and so many of them are just there for the next movie, and the movie after that, and the movie after that. It's like, could we just do this one? Can we concentrate on this one movie?
They just all of a sudden it's like a whole nother bad guy, right?
What's maddening about this movie is that there are, like you said, Alonso, there are elements in here that are certain scenes that are as powerful as anything we've seen in any other superhero movie, right? The relationship between Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker is so well defined and so well executed.
I thought you were talking about action stuff because I agree with what you just said. Yeah.
The scene, and I'm talking about the character scenes, right? Which you don't always get in a comic book movie. The scene in where Peter's talking to Aunt May, asking about his father.
I almost cried. I got choked up watching that
scene. Is jaw-dropping, right?
Absolutely.
That scene is amazing.
There is a scene in this movie that calls to mind both Bat Kid and Tiananmen Square.
Right,
exactly.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
But it's
and
under
then
all
we
that
have
stuff.
to sit through 40 minutes of who fucking Electro is.
Yeah,
I could give a shit, right?
And Dane DeHaan
and you have to
is,
sit, and what's
the thing.
What's so frustrating is we could be cynical and say that this is a movie that got created specifically so that Sony can continue to hang on to this franchise. But there's elements in here where it almost transcends, and yet you've got this crappy script that's written by Kurtzman and Orsi, and so you have to sit through you got to get a backstory on Jamie Foxx, and you've got to see, like, how many times have we seen the quirky character that an accident happens to, and he's got to learn to use his powers, and he's trying to, he's trying to figure things out, and then, the cops turn on him because there's an accident, and nobody understands, and like, we've seen that 25 times.
Also,
Enough.
he looks kind of distractingly like Darth Sidious, like when he has the hood on and he's shooting lasers or zapping people.
I thought the lasers were lame.
And lightning bolts.
Yeah,
That's the wrong
whatever.
thing.
I mean, the electric part of Electro was not great. And I thought that, like, it looked like there might be this kind of cool, misunderstood King Kong element to him for a little bit. But then there just wasn't. Then it just gets dropped. I mean, you get Jamie Foxx, you have a potential for something that could be really great. And it's not. And I thought with Jamie, and because it was Jamie Foxx, because it's Ray fucking Charles, right? I thought, oh, this is going to be this sort of, like, he's going to turn out in the end to be good because he, even in this state, crossed the humanity and but no, he's just a pissed villain.
And what you get is a character story that is almost the same emotional arc as you see with the Riddler in
Batman Forever.
Right?
Well, also, you have Jamie Foxx, as you say, and you make him a dweeb, which is not a good fit for his charisma, first of all, before he gets zapped by the eels. And then he gets zapped by the eels, and he's covered by all of this, I don't know, whatever it is, CGI blue prosthetic nonsense, and it's all squelching the thing that makes him compelling. I would like to see, like, an 85, 90-minute kind of indie Spider-Man movie. This is what I wrote in my review. It's like, just take out all the action. Just let them all talk to each other and let him work through his torment. I want that. I want indie
Mark
Spidey.
Webb. He knows how to make that movie.
That movie.
And there was. I've heard people say in the past that like Avatar, it's an animated movie because it's all being faked. And in a good movie, my mind doesn't go there. Like, if you give me that Avatar world, and maybe it's all fake, but I'm just sucked into it because I care about the characters and it feels real to me. There's a big climactic battle here where it's like Spider-Man, so of course he's got no face, he's got the mask on, and Electro, who by this point is just this big blue special effect, fighting in this giant power plant that clearly doesn't exist anywhere. And I'm thinking, this is a cartoon. I'm not seeing a single organic thing on screen. It's nothing but pixels, and I'm only noticing it because I don't give a fuck about any of it.
You cannot get emotionally attached to any of this when they're in action.
As they cut to the thing with the two jumbo jets, like, that's kind of exciting. Like, that's kind of tense. But then they keep cutting back to the battle scene, and you're like,
I want a movie about those jets.
What these movies do well, this and the previous Spider-Man movie, is show you the effect of the man on the street. That amazing scene in the first movie where they're turning the cranes for him. And this one, you've got the air traffic controllers in the hospital. It's like there are human-sized people being impacted by these giant, larger-than-life things. Right. And when they bother to show you that stuff, it's interesting and it's compelling, and it's something that a lot of superhero movies don't do. In the Avengers, we don't really get a feel for the refugees of New York. But there's just too much other stuff, and it just gets all extraneous.
It feels like there's a checklist of the things that, for people, what it feels like is the writers and the studio people fundamentally don't understand what the appeal of a character like this is. So Mark Webb and the actors have snuck in, like, the personal life of Spider-Man, which is what makes him an interesting character.
And the wisecracking Spider-Man.
And the wisecracking Spider-Man, and his personal life being such a mess, like, that's what makes that character interesting all along. But then it's like, oh, well, we gotta put big action sequences, and we gotta do the backstory on the villain.
We gotta destroy New York again.
Right. I just don't think those things work. They just don't work together at all with that guy. Like, they have this, to me, for a guy who doesn't really care about superhero movies, they have a perfect superhero. Like, I want this. I love this guy. I think he's so good. He's so charming. He's so likable. His costume is so stupid, right? And then he seems misplaced in those action sequences. That doesn't seem like what he'd be doing. It's almost like when the example I use all the time, but when James Bond, when Pierce Brosnan gets in a tank and drives down the Moscow, like, James Bond is supposed to have the Russian tanks fool them into shooting each other, right?
Right.
Like, he's not just the guy with the biggest gun, and so this guy isn't the guy who wins these fights, to me. He is smarter than that, and I get you could have one or two, but I didn't think the sort of cool Spider-Man with the cold blowing phlegm on the inside of his mask, which is fantastic, is the right guy to be involved in these sequences.
When you mentioned the checklist, I think also on the checklist is appealing to an international audience, and a lot of this feels very calculated in that regard. Like, they eat dim sum a lot. They go to Chinatown a lot, which feels to me not so much like a culinary choice, but like, let's please the Chinese audience. Did you not notice that?
I didn't think about it that way.
I wrote
but
down
now
like
that-
dim sum.
Now that you pointed out, it does seem
It's
very
so
calculated.
cynical, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Dane DeHaan is a terrific actor, and he's given not much to do here.
He's very
again,
whiny,
it's very much a set piece, a setup for something else later. The one thing I will give him in this film, I think it was James Rocky who said in his review that he's really good at playing menacing and pathetic at the same time.
Yeah, he is,
And-
but the way-
it's not interesting, this character, though.
Going back to the checklist, but given the way he looks and the way his hair is, like not one thing that you don't expect to happen happens with him.
True.
And in fact, the whole movie, to me, every single thing was expected to happen, save one significant. No, I'm not giving anything away, but there's one surprise that I want to give him credit for, and that made me like the movie a little bit more.
Okay,
so
well, let's do numbers.
So,
then.
and
Let's
that
do
took me to,
numbers.
but like took me to a 5.1 just because they didn't follow the checklist 100%.
I'm at a 4.9. It's just like so much I like, but so much I didn't.
4.8.
I like superhero movies. I loved Captain America, and we just saw a great Captain America movie, a great comic book movie. This is a crappy comic book movie. I give it a 3.5.
Wow. So that's a 4.6. What's it at?
57%. It has dropped into
57%.
rotten territory.
And still dropping, right?
Still falling right now, yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you.